An actually exciting Thursday night football game happened last night, and nobody will be talking about it. I'm Joe Dolan, and this is the Fantasy Points Daily Lineup for Friday, October 21st, 2022.
It's time for the FantasyPoints.com Daily Lineup. Staying on top of the latest news and updates around the NFL. Rise and shine, folks. We're taking the field. Here's your host, FantasyPoints.com's Joe Dolan.
Starting at quarterback for the Patriots on Monday, perhaps, is Mac Jones. Jones expects to be available for Monday night's game against the Bears as he recovers from his high ankle injury, Mike Reese of ESPN.com reports. The question is if the Patriots will play it safe with Mac Jones and hold him out another week, with Bailey Zappi doing a solid job as caretaker of this offense. Since taking over for an injured Jones in the second half of Week 4's loss to the Packers, Zappi has completed 72.9% of his passes for an excellent 8.5 yards per attempt, with 4 touchdowns to just 1 interception. He's also won both his starts. Now, he's lost 2 fumbles as well, but he also isn't being asked to do too much because he just doesn't have the arm to do so. What is evident is the Patriots have found, at minimum, a strong backup quarterback. Jones would be a low-end quarterback, too, if he does start against the Bears on Monday night. All right, so just because of the format of the show, I lead off with the quarterback. That's I just wanted to stick to that. Nobody cared about that, though. I understand that because here it is. Starting at running back for the 49ers, it's Christian McCaffrey. The San Francisco 49ers are all in. Per ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Niners sent second, third, and fourth round picks in 2023 and a fifth round pick in 2024 to the Panthers for McCaffrey. So here, just to give you guys a little glimpse behind the glass here, not that you don't think I do this already, but I usually write up a script and I tend to follow it pretty rigidly during my, just to make sure I don't get off track. But quite frankly, I figured I would go off the cuff for the McCaffrey analysis here because there is a lot to unravel here. First and foremost, the San Francisco 49ers do not trade an absolute bevy of draft picks to Christian McCaffrey to use him as a part-time player. That is not going to be the case. I know the 49ers use draft capital on running backs every year, but I mean, this is a little different. Second, third, fourth, and a fifth is equivalent to a pretty good first-round pick. So there's a lot of investment here. Now, here is where it gets interesting. The 49ers are last in the NFL in target share to running backs. That is obviously going to change, I would hope at least. You don't trade for Christian McCaffrey to use him as an early down grinder like Jeff Wilson. Now, Carolina is predominantly an inside zone and man blocking team, while San Francisco, obviously under Kyle Shanahan, predominantly an outside zone team. I don't think there's going to be any issues for Christian McCaffrey translating to the new blocking scheme for San Francisco. Also, he's going to be behind a better offensive line with fewer guys in the box. That will help as well. Now, here is the big question for Christian McCaffrey when it comes to this offense. Since he's going to take up so much of it, is San Francisco going to increase pace or increase the number of plays it runs? They run the 8th fewest plays in the NFL, and by the way, are consistently in the bottom half of the NFL in plays run and pace under Kyle Shanahan. Why is that important? Because you don't trade for Christian McCaffrey to give him 8 touches. It's not going to happen. So if Christian McCaffrey comes in and the 49ers don't run more plays, well, then that's going to be fewer opportunities for Deebo Samuel, fewer opportunities for Brandon Ayuk, fewer opportunities for George Kittle. And the latter 2 of those guys have been inconsistent for fantasy anyway this year. So there is a lot going on here with the Christian McCaffrey trade that I think is going to affect this offense as a whole. Now, I think it's a great move for McCaffrey. I do think McCaffrey's going to get volume. I do think the 49ers are going to throw him the ball more than they've thrown to their other backs. Again, you don't trade this bevy of draft picks to just plug a guy into your scheme. They're going to change the scheme for him. But I do think right now, it's a downgrade at the bare minimum for Ayuk and Kittle, unless the 49ers change the way they play offense in general. They played more hurry up, and I'm not sure they're going to do that with Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, for the Panthers, they are last in plays per game. Deontay Foreman, Chuba Hubbard. I mean, yes, those guys, you can pick them up. Somebody's going to carry the football here. But we're talking this offense could be like Josh Rosen Cardinals level bad going forward. So I wouldn't expect much of Hubbard or Foreman. Foreman, by the way, is my preferred pickup of the two. But yeah, I wouldn't expect much of those guys. Anyway, Christian McCaffrey is a 49er. If he plays this weekend, and that's a big if, I mean, he was traded there on Thursday. If he plays this weekend, it will probably be in a limited role, but I have to play him for fantasy. It's just a huge trade, and we'll have more, obviously, with podcasts and on the site and all that stuff. But that is my off-the-cuff take on the Christian McCaffrey trade. I just hope the 49ers run more plays because this could hurt guys like Debo and Kittle and Ayuk. Now, in our running back 2 spot, we hope to have DeAndre Swift this week. Swift has practiced in a limited fashion in each of the last 2 days as he returns from ankle and shoulder injuries. This is kind of what I expected their plan to be. Swift missed the Lions week 4 and week 5 games with the injuries, which seemed to be the Lions' plan to get him optimal rest heading into the bye. Now, he's now had 3 weeks off and is on pace to return in week 7, which will put him right back in the RB1 discussion. They play Dallas this week, which is not a great matchup, by the way. But is Swift playing a guarantee? Not yet. You still want to be holding Jamal Williams for the time being. In our first wide receiver spot, we have somebody else requesting a trade. I don't know if this trade request is going to go over as well. I don't think McCaffrey requested a trade, by the way, but I don't know if this is going to go over as well as the McCaffrey deal. After getting no targets in week 6, the Jets' Elijah Moore sat out of practice for personal reasons on Thursday. He is now requesting a trade, and it does not appear like the Jets are willing to acquiesce. Moore has just 4 targets and 1 catch over the last 2 weeks and has just a single game over 50 yards receiving this year after a 2021 rookie season in which he scored 5 touchdowns in his final 5 games before a season-ending injury. Now, it's completely understandable that Moore wants to be more involved, but his snaps have been down over the last 2 weeks because the Jets use an extra tight end to close out games with Breece Hall. They had big leads in each of the last 2 weeks. That's why his snaps were down. Now, the Jets are on a 3-game winning streak, so this public request isn't likely to sit well with his teammates. And I don't expect the Jets will give in to his demands. Joe Douglas certainly doesn't seem like someone who is going to back down to a challenge. For now, I'd expect Moore to be inactive, at least this week. And the irony is that his trade request makes him harder to drop for fantasy in the event he does get moved to a wide receiver needy team. But my honest opinion, I think he'll be back in a Jet uniform in due time, and hopefully with a bigger role. In our second wide receiver spot, we have somebody who aggravated an injury on Thursday. The Commanders' Jahan Dotson came up limp on a target in Thursday's practice and left with trainers. This is per John Keim of ESPN. Quote, Jahan Dotson said he did re-aggravate his left hamstring. Says just needs a little rest and see where it goes. Said he'll be fine. Players are always more optimistic about their injuries than they should be, and it seems unlikely that the Commanders will risk any further damage by pushing Dotson before he's ready to come back from a tricky hamstring injury. Look at Kadarius Toney, for example. As of now, we'll consider him on the wrong side of questionable for this weekend against the Packers. With De'Ami Brown also hurt, it's setting up for a lot of targets for Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel. In our flex spot, we have 2 of fantasy's best tight ends not practicing. Both the Ravens' Mark Andrews and the Raiders' Darren Waller haven't practiced all week. Andrews is listed with a knee injury and Waller with a hamstring. Coach John Harbaugh called Andrews' day off on Wednesday a rest day, but this is now back-to-back DNPs, and he is, of course, listed on the injury report with the knee issue. We're still not going to panic, as Baltimore may be taking every precaution imaginable given how much Andrews has carried their offense this year. Nonetheless, intrepid Andrews owners may want to clear a bench spot for Isaiah Likely in the event Harbaugh was flat out lying to us. As for Waller, he told NFL.com's Jim Trotter that he likely won't play this week against the Texans. Foster Moreau is working his way back from injury, so Moreau would fill in against Houston. Waller's had hamstring problems since the start of training camp and is looking like a massive fantasy bust for the second consecutive season. A lot of breaking news to break down here today. I went off the cuff a little like, subscribe to the video, comment on the video. And hey, look, that's a great way to interact with me. Sorry, the camera was going in and out, so I was a little distracted there. But if you go to fantasypoints.com, subscribe to the site with the code lineup22, gets you an extra 10% off an already 25% discounted package, and you can come chat with me in the subscriber Discord. I can see all of my notifications down there. I'm guessing most of them are about Christian McCaffrey. Hey, that's kind of what I'm here for. So I hope everybody enjoyed this week of the Fantasy Points Daily Lineup as we start another 50 episodes. Man, I wonder what we're going to give away at 100 episodes. Will we get there before the end of the year? I think we might. I think we might get there before the end of the year. Anyway, we do 4 of these a week during the fantasy football season, Tuesday through Friday. I'll see everybody next Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everybody.